Shalom, shalom, friends, and I want to welcome those who are here live as well as all of you who are listening to me in the recorded versions or on streaming or YouTube, all of whom are connected to us at this moment. So today at our noon gathering, we looked at Psalm 27, and we've talked about that in this setting before. It's an interesting psalm for a number of reasons, and as we were leaving today, one of the participants asked if we would next week look at Psalm 119. And so I began to look at Psalm 119 in preparation for next week. And it is very different and immediately presents some difficulties to us. And so let me share that with you. The words in English sound fairly simple. Here's what it says in English. Happy are those whose way is blameless, who follow the teaching of the Lord. A simple enough phrase, but in Hebrew, it's a little more complicated. You see, the words in Hebrew begin Ashrei Temimah Derech HaHolchin B'Torat Adonai. It's true, it starts off with the word happy, but in the word that is being translated as blameless means more than blameless. It also means simple-mindedness. It also means, those of you who are familiar with the Passover Seder, we have 4 sons. One of the 4 sons, the son who does not know how to ask a question, he is called Tamim. So this word here, happy, are those who are blameless. It really does mean that, but it also means happy is the one who is oblivious, who is not even able to formulate a sentence, and who is so pure by that idea that they only know how to do limited amount of things, that they are happy. It is kind of maybe a little bit different than what I think the person who told me this was their favorite psalm thought that this meant. To me, it is a kind of reference to perhaps the kind of innocence that keeps people happy. And maybe innocence is a wonderful thing, but it's not the state of being that most people live in. It goes on and says in Hebrew, Ashrei notzrei edotav bechol lev yidrashuhu. And it's translated like this: happy are those who observe his decrees, who turn to him, who turn to God wholeheartedly. Again, it does mean that in a very poetic way, but the words indicate something a little bit different in my opinion, because the word natsor, which is being translated here as observe, really has a more accurate meaning. Are happy are those who consult Edotav, his testimony, his witnessing, his testimony, I think is the best way. Happy are those who inquire of God's testimony, who inquire of the Torah, and in their heart, they, in all their heart, they turn to him, to God. Here, I would say who is the happy person here? It's the happy person who goes and consults with the text, goes and spends their time consulting with the text, and who doesn't have an idea of what exactly is the right way, but goes and looks up the right way. An admirable and wonderful thing, but something that's a little bit different than the way the English translation might take us. The next verse, or verse number 4 in this psalm, which is 119, says, "You have commanded that your precepts be kept diligently." And there it does reflect a good translation of what the Hebrew is. Diligently, or with great attention to detail, is what this psalmist says. These are heavy responsibilities. The reason I bring this up is to tell us, or to remind us, that when we are working with Jewish texts, there are multiple levels of meaning. We can look at the individual words and parse the words and begin to think about what decisions the translator made. We can also look at the words in context and see how they fit in context with other sentences. And we can also take the poem, this is a poem as a whole, and reflect on what does this poem mean. Now, you might say to yourself, this is all very confusing. This is all really difficult. But the truth is, this is what makes our tradition ultimately fascinating, ultimately fulfilling, and ultimately interesting, because we can travel through different layers and different understandings depending on who we are and where we are and how our teachers have trained us. And that doesn't mean that we're confused. It just means that every time we come back to a text, it's every bit as fascinating as when we meet someone, a person who we haven't seen in a long time. Every time we see them, we see new ways of understanding them, new thoughts about them, new insights into who they are. People are endlessly fascinating, and our Jewish texts can be endlessly fascinating as well. Friends, we are going to conclude now with the Mourner's Kaddish, and you're welcome to join me in the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabam, B'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabam Varach Le'olam Le'amei Amaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitboar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yidaleh V'yidalal Shemei D'Kudisha Barichu, Li'ela Min Kol Berchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata Damiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace above bring peace to us, and surely bring peace to Israel soon. And let us say, Amen. Thank you, friends. See you.